Sri Ramakrishna, the divine incarnation, he said, truthfulness is the austerity of this present age. Spiritual austerity. And this is the age of businessmen. According to our scriptures, there are 4 ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. So, this is the Kali era. And at this age, Swami Vivekananda said, in this age, it is the businessmen who will control everything. So, and Sri Ramakrishna said, truthfulness is the spiritual austerity for this age. That means in this age, one should try to be truthful. And then he said, through truthfulness, through the practice of truthfulness, one will experience God who is truth. Now, truth. What is truth? Something which is really truth. And what is real? That question has been raised in Hinduism. They have given the answer. Something which is eternal and changeless, that alone is real. So, in this world which we see, nothing is real because nothing is eternal and nothing is changeless. Everything keeps on changing. So, what is changeless and what is eternal is divinity or God. God alone is changeless. God alone is real. Through the practice of truthfulness, a person experiences God. And in our scriptures it has been mentioned that God is Satyasya Satyam, truth of all truths. There are lower truths, etc., but compared to them, that is the highest truth. Little children in this country, they believe in the tooth fairy, that is true to them. And they also believe in Santa Claus, they think that is true. But when they start growing up, they understand that those were not truths. Those were lower truths. So also, we travel from lower truth to higher truth. And which is the highest truth? The highest truth is God. And there is, in our scriptures, it is mentioned, Satyameva Jayate Nanitam. That means truth alone triumphs, and what is untruth, that does not. That means God alone exists. Other things, yes, they seem to exist, but they don't really exist. And the practice of truthfulness changes the mind. And it is said that one who practices truthfulness for 12 years, after that whatever comes out of that person's mouth becomes true. I have seen that in my life among some people who practice truthfulness. And one of them is Swami Krishnatmananda. He is also known as Purna Maharaj in our order. At that time I was a novitiate monk, that means a brahmachari, in the Shillong ashrama of the Ramakrishna order. Ashrama means Shillong Vedanta Center, and Shillong is up on the mountains. It is 1 mile high city, beautiful city. And our order in India performs many kinds of service, public service. They give relief to people who are in a flood or after an earthquake, or when there is scarcity of food in some place. In such situations, our order sends Swamis to give relief. And I told you that that time I was a novitiate monk, a brahmachari, in the Shillong center of the Ramakrishna order. And then some flood came to the province in which Shillong was the capital, and it came to a place near Rangia, which is in the Kamrup county of that province, which was known as Assam. So one of the monks, his name was Hemanta Maharaj, he was sent there to give relief with relief articles and all. He went there and gave relief for a while, and the people were immensely benefited. Then the order sent me there to help Hemanta Maharaj to do the accounting work. So I went. I have some accounting experience because I used to, before joining the monastic order, I used to be a government auditor in the audit department of India. So anyway, so I went there and I did my work, and after 3 days or work by that time had become over, and we had to come back to Shillong. And to come back to Shillong, we had to go by train for some 30 or 40 miles to a place called Guwahati, and from there 63 miles of bus ride to Shillong. Around this time, one Swami, his name was Krishnatmananda, whom I mentioned, he came to our relief camp in Rangia. He was sent by the headquarters, which is near Calcutta, to work in the Shillong center. Swami Krishnatmananda came. He came all the way by train, and then he came to the relief camp in Rangia. But it was the time when we would go back to Shillong, and we were wondering how to go because we had 2 large suitcases, and going by train and then again by bus to Shillong. That would be an arduous job. Then Krishnatmananda Swami said, it will be nice if somebody brings his car here and takes us to Shillong. And hearing that, Hemanta Maharaj said, Maharaj, Swamiji, it is impossible. Who will come? But no. Just in a short time, maybe half an hour or so, a car arrived at that relief center. And that car was the official car of the person who was the chief engineer or the head of the the state electricity board in Assam. His name was Shyamapada Chaudhary. He came, he was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. He came to us and said, "Oh, you are preparing to go to Shillong. Why don't you all come? I'll take you all to Shillong by my car." So there was enough accommodation for us in that car. The suitcases could be put also nicely, and that's how we came. So Swami Krishnatmananda said, if he wished that someone would come and pick us from there by car and take us to Shillong, and that happened. So he had practiced truthfulness for many years. That's why what he would say would come true. I have seen other instances also. When he was in the Shillong center, then I was also there, and there was a brahmachari who was given a German camera by one of our members or one of our devotees. He was very pleased. At that time, the cell phones were not there. That's many years ago. To take a picture, we needed a real camera. And that brahmachari was overjoyed when he got that camera. And then he said to us, "I've got this camera, so I would like to take your picture." Then he made us all stand in a group. There were some 5 or 6 monks there. And then he started taking pictures. And Swami Krishnatmananda then said, while he was taking pictures, "Wait and see if any pictures come out." And it is so strange that when the film was delivered to a photography shop for development, then it was seen that there was no picture there. All were dark. Then it was discovered that the camera had some inner lining of some black paper, and that had become dislodged, and it obstructed the way the light would enter the camera. So what Swami Krishnatmananda said, that came true. Well, these are only 2 instances, but there are other instances as well. So one who practices truthfulness, then that is called in Sanskrit it's called Satya Raksha. That means it is like maintaining truth. And then after 12 years that person becomes a Satyavadi. That means whatever comes out of that person's mouth becomes true. I have seen many such instances. Truthfulness is possible when a person does not have selfishness. Lying is caused by selfishness of people. A little child, for example, has broken a mirror, and then the parents ask him, "Who broke that mirror? Did you break the mirror?" The child says, No, I did not." Due to selfishness, he does not want to be rebuked. He doesn't want to be rebuked by his parents. So also lying is done. And I said at the beginning of my talk that this is the age of businessmen. And the businessmen, they lie all the time. 100% reduction of price, they will write. But that is not true. They are always making some profit. There is a 50% reduction of a certain commodity. But first they raise the price 100% and then they allow that. That's how it is. Businessmen, they thrive through lying. while I was in India, there was a gentleman who came from a princely state. In India there were many princely states even during the British period, and that was what to speak of free India. His name was Prince Karan Singh. He became a cabinet minister of the federal government of India, Karan Singh. But he was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi, who was an embodiment of truthfulness, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. So he also believed in that ideal. So at that time, in our headquarters in India, which is in Belur Math, there was a big celebration, and Karan Singh came there, and he was asked to give a talk among others. And he stood up and he said, it is in our scriptures it is said that Satyameva Jayate Nanitam, truth alone triumphs, not untruth. But what in our government, what they follow is Mithya eva jayate na satyam. This is India, government of India unfortunately is corrupt, and this is common in any nation which was once occupied by some colonial power. So India was occupied by Britain, and so they had to run the country. So they needed some people who were not that wonderful people to do their dirty job. And that's why those countries, all those countries which are colonies of foreign powers, I have seen that their government is corrupt. Only one country I have seen where there is no corruption, and that is Japan. It was never a colony of any foreign nation. But other countries, Brazil, it is a very wealthy country, but the government is corrupt because it was a colony of Portugal. Anyway, so there is lying all around. That's why Karan Singh he lamented and said, now untruth alone triumphs and not truth. Mithya eva jayate na satyam, that's what he said. And now that is Karan Singh, that his name has come up. Karan, he is named after one hero of ancient India, at least that we read about him in one of those two great epics in the Mahabharata. Karna, his name was Karna. He was a prince and he was a great warrior and all. So this connection, the name Karna Singh is, they pronounce it as Karan Singh. So Karna, there is a story about Karna. In the Mahabharata we read that there was a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. There were two groups. They are cousins actually, but they are fighting over who will become the king or emperor. And then the Pandavas were some princes, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sahadeva. These are the names, 5 princes. And they were fighting with their cousins, the head of which was Duryodhana. And Duryodhana had many friends, and Karna was one of them. And Karna was a great warrior. And So Karna. So this Pandavas had to fight with the Kauravas, and so Yudhishthira, he was a prince, but while fighting with Karna, he got injured because it was very difficult to defeat Karna. He became injured and then he came back to the camp, becoming wounded. And then Arjuna was a great warrior also. That is one of the Pandavas. And Arjuna was fighting with others, and then he noticed that his brother, eldest brother Yudhishthira, was not there on the battlefield, and he had become wounded and he has gone to the camp. So he left the battlefield, Arjuna, and came to see his brother Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira knew that Arjuna was a great warrior. So he asked him, "Oh, you have come. Have you been able to kill Karna?" Then Arjuna said, "No, it is Bhima who is fighting with him, but I came to see you." Then Yudhishthira becomes very displeased because it was only Arjuna who could defeat Karna. He knew that. So he came. Then he said, "You should be ashamed of your conduct. You should throw away your bow and arrow. You are not fit to be a warrior." Yudhishthira was very hurt. Hearing this, Arjuna apparently became displeased, but he pulled out his sword and he was about to cut off the head of his eldest respected brother Yudhishthira. It was strange, but in those days they would fight from chariots, and the chariot was driven by a charioteer, and Arjuna was lucky to have Sri Krishna as his charioteer. Sri Krishna, a divine incarnation. So Sri Krishna was present with Arjuna there in the camp of Yudhishthira. So Sri Krishna stopped Arjuna and said, "What are you going to do?" Then Arjuna said, "Well, I have to be truthful. Many years ago I took this vow that if anyone calls me, throw away your bow and you are no longer a warrior, then I decided that I should kill that person." So unfortunately my respected brother Yudhishthira has said that to me, so I have to hold on to truth. I have to kill him. Then Sri Krishna said to Arjuna, "You know nothing about truth. You know nothing about truth." Yes. Then he told a story about one ascetic named Kaushika. Kaushika was an ascetic living in a forest, and he had his hut and all that. And then suddenly a few people, 5 or 6 people, very scared, they came to him and said, "Please hide us somewhere because some robbers are chasing us. They want to kill us and rob our wealth, whatever we have." Then Kaushika then pointed to some bushes there around his house. Said, "Go and hide behind those bushes." They went there. A little later, the robbers came.
Mute yourself. I don't know. There was something that popped up there and I pushed it and it worked. Not
And
that though.
they
One
came,
speaker was muted.
the robbers came and they asked Kaushika, "Have you seen some people, 5 or 6 people? who came here. They must really came here. Where are they? And Kaushika was about to speak the truth only. He was a truthful person. Then, in order to be truthful, he pointed at the bush and said to the robbers, they are hiding there. And then the robbers went there and killed those people, robbed them whatever money they had on that persons. And then Sri Krishna was telling this story. Then when he died, the king of death came to him and threw him down to hell. By speaking the truth, he got the reward. He had to go to hell. So that's why Krishna said, a truth which harms other people, that is no truth. You should not speak such a truth which will harm others. And truthfulness, to practice truthfulness, one has to learn many things. One should not speak truths which are harsh. For example, if you go to see a patient who is in the hospital and you have heard that the doctor has said that he will live for only 7 more days. So you go there to see that patient, and that patient asks you, do you know anything about what the doctor has said about me? Then should you say, the doctor has said that you would die after 7 days? That will be a harsh truth. In that situation you have to say, well, what the doctor says is not important. Let us all pray to God, Almighty God. Let us all pray to Almighty God so that you recover. So you have to say that. So harsh truths should not be told. A truth which hurts others, that should not be spoken. So I could have given a long talk on truthfulness and all these things, but I have to stop here because the time is up. I have already spoken for half an hour, and I wish that you all become happy. Even in a situation where there is that scare of some virus. Yes, and may God keep all of us well. Thank you very much.